Hello there, Capricorn. Welcome to your March reading. It's really great to see you again. I hope that this month is getting off to a great start for everyone as well. Now, every month, as you know, I start off with some channeled information. This month is no different. The only change, though, is I'm going to move away from using note cards and simply just channel the information live. I think it's going to be a little bit more fluid in the delivery, and I also think that it will save the environment. So, win-win. So, I was meditating just a moment ago, trying to tune into your energy, and I'm going to continue that right now. The one thing that I'm receiving as far as a visual, which helps me give you the channeled information, is sort of someone trying to put a different size key in the wrong lock or whatever. And so what I want you to focus on this month is divine timing, and trying not to force that timing to coincide with either a deadline that you've set or something that you think has to happen a certain way. So you want to open up your mind, open up your intuition, and find different ways possibly to get the same thing done. Also, pay attention to where you're getting any sort of pushback or friction when you're trying to make something happen in your life. So again, if it's about a deadline that doesn't feel right, move it if you can. If it's about trying to sort of create chemistry between you and someone else, you can't force timing. So I would say relax and allow for natural openings in the universe to present themselves. Openings that will be opportunities for you to do things, to talk to people, and to make things happen. So if that makes sense, try not to push too hard and just be open, available, and ready to receive. I think it's more about receiving than trying to make things happen when the timing is wrong. And a simple example of this, I know I've talked in different readings before about it, but if you're trying to drive to a certain event and you notice that there's literal roadblocks, maybe there's a cop car that is driving slowly and you can't get around it, or there's been an accident, or the traffic's so heavy that you know you're going to be like half an hour late, that's actually the universe signaling you, maybe you shouldn't go tonight, or is this really what you want to do? So we get these little subtle nudges all the time, but we don't always pay attention to it. And again, the other thing that I was talking about is if you're trying to maybe make a reservation and you notice that in the booking engine, you just can't seem to get the date and the time and the location that you're trying to do, try to find other dates, and you may actually be saving yourself from either an uncomfortable trip or something that goes wrong. Sometimes the universe presents these roadblocks, whether they're subtle or frustrating, they're usually there for our advantage and for our own assistance. So see it as some sort of a divine hand pushing you or nudging you into the right direction, and don't force anything this month if you can. Try to go with the flow and receive guidance, which I like to remind people that intuition doesn't always come like this loudspeaker from above. I think angels and God and the universe kind of work more in a whisper and subtlety. So if you want to learn how to harness your intuition, you want to listen to those whispers, to the subtle cues that the universe is giving you, and that's going to help you become more psychic, more intuitive. All right, so now let's take a look at all of the cards and see what additional messages come through for you this month. I'm going to start shuffling, and as I'm shuffling here, I'll run down how I organize the reading. And for those of you that are brand new, I start off with the channeled information, which I just did, and then I move along to a Celtic cross, which I'll be laying out here in a moment, and then I'll expand that to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And I find that this really provides a nice, well-rounded view of everything that's coming for the month ahead. So at this point, I like to remain quiet while I pull the cards, and then we'll analyze what's coming through. One additional card I pull before I look at the Celtic cross here is what I call a catalyst. The catalyst helps us make connections between everything else in the spread. It also helps us achieve any sort of goals that you're trying to kind of make happen over the course of the month. So we have the Tiger card, which is reversed, but when I look at this, it's a nod for me to the Strength card. It's a nod to being bold, and I'll pull it closer so it's not blurry. And so I want you to find that confidence that you sometimes might be pushing back because you don't want to stand in the way of someone else, or for those of you that are afraid of doing something bold and important, this card is saying, no, this is the month for you to stand up for yourself, for you to speak or share an idea or do something that is going to really help you make a splash and help people take note of you. So again, the card was reversed, which shows me that some of you may not want to do that, but if you've done all the research, if the timing feels right, then do it. If not, then just know that this is something that you want to be working on, and ask yourself why you're pausing. Is it simply because of fear? Fear is something that you can work past. Is it because it doesn't feel right? That's something you should listen to based on the channeled information. Or is it about feedback that you're receiving that maybe you need to, rethink what you're doing, or the audience isn't appropriate? So there's a lot of reasons you could take a pause, but if it is fear, I would say this card is saying be strong, be confident, move past that. The other aspect of this card I want you to pay attention to is the predatory nature of a tiger. So I want you to be careful of who you surround yourself with, both in your professional circle and also just friends and family. This card is reminding you that you want to kind of keep a tight upper lip when it comes to any sort of contracts, confidences, secrets that you've been entrusted with, and really make sure that you're honoring those commitments, because something could go awry if you act out of line, or if you reveal something that you shouldn't. This card is about people that are kind of waiting for that to happen, so don't give them a reason. The best way to sort of proceed is just to assume that everything you're doing is above board, transparent, and by the books. And if you do that, you've nothing to hide, then you're going to be fine. If you do something and you have to think twice, like, could this get back to that person? Don't say it, don't do it. Really just kind of live by a code that you can respect and others can respect as well. All right, let's take a look at the cards now, and we'll get some additional insights here. A lot of emotional stuff coming through for you this month. I think that's why this tiger card came through, and again, that latter portion of the information that I was picking up on about who to trust, this is going to be really important this month. Your center card is Princess of Wands reversed. This is a card where for you, it bodes well. It shows me that you're going to be in control of things this month, but there's a caution not to be too sort of stubborn or pig-headed. You want to remain open, and that's why I believe the channeled information was really encouraging you to pay attention to signs and subtlety. And the place where you're going to really need to focus on this is with your relationships. Ace of Cups is a great card, so I'm not that concerned about it, but the fact that it's over top of a card that shows a tendency towards closing one's mind or not picking up on things, I think that's showing an area of vulnerability this month where you really want to make sure that you echo back what you've heard, make sure that you understand the other person's motives and desires and needs, and empathize as much as possible. Now, the great part of this, though, if you're really not that focused on your relationships, the Ace of Cups card is a creative card, and in your environment we have the High Priestess card as well. So for many of you, what this is going to equal is a chance for you to sort of feel this explosion of ideas, of creativity, possibly even a very productive first couple of weeks of the month. So that's all good. Just remember to try to stay as focused as you can and get some of this out. Put it on paper. Capture the ideas when they come, because if you don't, you might lose something valuable there. I still think there's a lot happening with relationships or emotions this month, because when I look at your deep past, we have the King of Cups card here. This shows me a lot of movement, a lot of change, and the positive aspect of this card, especially since it's upright, is that you can be in control of it this month. You can harness it. Like I said, you can focus on creative endeavors. You can put this into relationships as well. As we look at what's going to be affecting the first week of the month here in your recent past, and also again this kind of bleeds into the first week, we have 10 of Cups in reverse. I love 10 of Cups. It's a card of community. It's a card of being able to network. It also sometimes can represent the family. Now with the card reverse, it's showing all of those aspects of your life possibly needing you a little bit more. So it's a tug of war that I see happening. So if you're single, you might just have a lot of family obligations picking up, or your friend group might be picking up. Or you could decide, oh my goodness, I have like 3 different networking opportunities that I can do. So you want to pick and choose wisely, and you want to remember that although there's this need and desire to make everybody feel like you love them, that you care about them, the reversal of this card is reminding you to refill. It's almost like a battery. You've got to spend time recharging. Otherwise, think of a cell phone, a car battery, even a computer battery. The way they're designed now, sometimes if you use them all the way to empty, and you do that too often, you actually can damage the batteries. You want to refill at the halfway points. Same thing with our with our body, with our spirit, with our energy. If we keep putting ourselves on empty or near empty, then the ramifications are intense. So take care of yourself, say no occasionally, delay when you can, and remind people that you have a lot going on this month, and that's okay. Because if you think back, I'm fairly certain people in your life have said no, have pushed back, have said a similar sort of thing. I don't feel good today or whatever. So you can also use all of those valid statements, especially when you are feeling drained or when you just need a night off to relax. So be kind to yourself and be kind to others, but not to a point of exhaustion, basically. Now, the crowning card is exciting for many of you. We've got the 6 of Cups. This is a card for those of you that might be seeking out a new partner, of finding someone that you either have an instant recognition or a sense of knowing with, or perhaps it is someone from the past and you get a second chance at trying to explore if you want to be friends or if you want to date, etc. But I see someone either from the past or with that recognition that we're old souls, we're soulmates. That could be coming in for many of you this month. For those of you that have a bigger family, this is also children, and so 6 of Cups can just show that the one aspect of your family circle that might be the most taxing is your children. They may need more of your time, so you can juggle accordingly and figure out how to make that work for you. And remember, again, even with our children, we do need boundaries. We do need to remind them that we need sleep, etc. So you'll figure out how to do that based on the age of your children. Of course, if it's an infant or a toddler, that's not going to work as well. But older children do have to learn to respect and even just recognize that parents are humans as well as being sort of their caretakers. So remember that. There's a subtle message of boundaries and love, but not love to the point of exhaustion. One other thing that I want to mention here when I'm looking at the 6 of Cups, when I was really paying attention to how they were positioned here, I want you to not be afraid to make the first move. That's why this card is reversed, and I'm seeing a lot of movement with feet in this card, and the first thing that I was kind of getting when I saw that was take a chance, take the first step. So especially if this is someone from the past or someone that you knew really well from childhood, it can be a best friend, and you may have lost touch. This is a card where you're the one that decides, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone or send that email and just see how you're doing. And I think reciprocity will happen from that, but you have to be the initiator there. Now, as we're looking at the middle of the month and also some of the things you're trying to resolve, we have a 5 of Cups card that has been reversed. 5 of Cups is a card of opportunity, of looking at the positive, letting go of the negative. The cool thing that I like with this card, and you'll see it in different 5 of Cups in different decks here, is it's about what you're calling in from your life. Notice how she's reflecting on herself too. So what I want you to think of in your life is, what in your present situation have you actually called in, either for a lesson or perhaps because you just weren't paying attention to things. Sometimes we think all of these things are happening to us, but they're actually lessons that are laid out before us from the universe for our benefit. And so a 5 of Cups card is not actually a bad thing. It's a chance for you to take stock and to appreciate what you've learned, and also sort of send a note to the universe saying, thank you so much for these challenging but really, informative lessons, but I'm ready now to let them go. I'm ready for things to be easier. You can say a prayer like that, and you have to ask for help sometimes before it will happen. So let go of things. If there's been a really stressful, work situation going on, or love situation, or health situation, then you can say, I'm ready now to welcome in abundance, to welcome in good health, and I'm grateful for the experience, but I no longer need to live in that truth. I'm letting go of that. So think of what makes sense for you and release it when you're ready. Okay, I love that your ego is presented by the Ace of Swords in the upright position. This is showing me that from a physical standpoint, you're actually in a pretty good place by and large. And even if you're working through illness, this card can show a better chance for recovery. More than that though, this is a card of open communication, of power in words, power in thoughts. So I want you to really pick and choose your words wisely this month because they're going to have a profound impact. And Capricorn is very good with business. And so you could really do some fabulous things with marketing this month. And likewise, you could say something that you don't want to get out there, but the upright version of this card is really showing that if you plan and think before speaking, I think that this is going to be a fantastic month for you. It's also a good time for launching new things, announcing new things. If you wanted to even propose to someone, this would be a good time for that. Or to just have a conversation. It doesn't always have to be about business. It can just be about learning more, speaking your mind. It could be a negotiation between you and your spouse. But whatever it is, the Ace of Swords really puts you in a positive light and gives you power when it comes to words spoken or written. Now, what I love here is your environmental card is the High Priestess. And the only cautionary note on this is that she is reversed. And I do believe there's a correlation between the Tiger and the High Priestess. So, as I was mentioning, this is about trust. You trust who you're talking to. Are you saying things that you might regret to people around you? Could that stuff leak out? You want to be careful with that. This card is about listening to your intuition and to your heart and figuring out what's right, what's wrong. Also kind of cueing in to see if you understand other people's motives. The good part of the High Priestess is she's the best card for diplomacy because she can intuit, she can sometimes even maneuver or manipulate things to work out in her favor. So if you embrace the positive sides of the High Priestess, you can actually combine this beautiful Ace of Swords with your empathy and your PR skills and make things work. You can iron out wrinkles, you can mediate and overcome difficulties. So I'm going to encourage you to do all of those things. Now as we look at hopes and fears, it's echoed by what we see at the center. Actually, I'm going to pull the camera down so you can see all the cards here. Your center card is Princess of Wands, and then we have the Prince of Wands here. Whenever I see two of the same suit, for those of you that are married, this can show a little bit of friction in that area, needing to open up and practice active listening skills. So the Princess of Wands and the Prince of Wands reversed. We look at this listening to what you feel, or what sometimes even listening beyond the words that your partner or your friend might be saying. It's really understanding on a heart level what's going wrong and trying to help and heal there. But listen first, then echo back what they've said, and then ask for a chance to share your mind. It's going to be important to have that exchange of words, of time, of pauses for you to get through what could be some communication barriers. So again, when I see two of the same suit, it either presents as your significant other or an intimate relationship in your life. Sometimes that can even be your boss, believe it or not. You know, someone who you share a lot of time with and a lot of energy. And so whoever sort of equates your closest relationship, I just want you to be as open-minded as possible. And as we look at your outcome card here, we have Temperance, and you want to really try to find a way to not get ahead of yourself when you're speaking, not let your emotions be heightened too much, and kind of walk the middle line. I like that this is sort of a blend between Rider-Waite and also the Thoth deck here. But we see that there's art associated with Temperance, and I really do believe actually there is an art to this is really about diplomacy and walking that middle line. So I want you to find that way of, you know, not letting your own energy be sort of fogging your view up, and really allowing someone else to kind of come in and present who they are, what they're trying to do, and to appreciate it, even if you can't agree with everything. The most powerful things you can say is, I hear what you're saying. You don't have to say, I agree with you. You don't have to say you're right, you're wrong, or you don't even have to ask questions. The first thing that you want to do with anybody is to acknowledge that their voice matters, that they're being heard, and that you respect them. Now, if they're not being respectful back to you, of course you can speak up, but usually people just need to first get that acknowledgement. I think if you do that, this month is going to be so much easier for you. Now let's move on to the expanded forecast. We'll begin with the health card. Health, of course, includes mind, body, and spirit. So let's see what the cards have to say. You know, this card has volunteered to want to come out. All right, so we have this Seek card here, and it's asking you to look for second opinions. For some of you, you might want to talk to a different doctor. Some of you could just be about educating yourself on new ways to be healthy, to be happy. This is a meditation card as well. So what you want to do this month is basically not settle for the status quo. If there's a part of your health that hasn't made you happy over the course of the past year or even the past couple of weeks or days, this card says, okay, look into this. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you haven't been to a doctor in a while, this card is encouraging you to seek a professional opinion, to go and find the answers that you're looking for. Don't wait with this card. The only part that you can sort of sit and wait with is your meditation, of course, but I think by and large, this card is encouraging you to find new ways to be healthy and happy, to get a second opinion if you're not happy with the doctor you have, and if you haven't checked up on your health, any part of it, this is a good time to book those appointments with your specialists and take care of yourself. Seek the proper assistance and care that you need. All right, let's now look at the wealth part of your life here. For me, wealth can include either how your relationship is with money, how to find more opportunities in your life, or sustainability. And it really depends at what part of your life you're in right now. Are you younger and in school? Are you in the middle of your career, or are you retired? I'll try to see what the message has for each of those sectors. Or so far this month, actually, there's been an overarching message that's worked for all the signs. So let's see if that is true for you too. So back to trust. And this card was reversed like many of the Oracle cards are this month. So what I'm seeing with this is, with your money, you want to really spend it, save it, and have a relationship with it in a way that makes you proud and makes other people proud. You want to be a trustworthy person. If you have someone that's taking care of your money and you don't trust them, this card is saying it's really important for you to get more of an eagle-eye view of what's going on. See all of the components and make sure that, ask yourself, why is that person doing this? So for some of you, it could be a partner, it might be a tax person, but this card overall is saying just act with integrity. So do the right thing. If someone needs a raise, give them the raise. If you promise not to touch a certain amount of money for your partner, don't, leave it. You know, and whatever you really feel in your core is right, you need to follow through on that. And if there's anyone in your life that has a relationship with money or towards you and they're not acting with that same integrity, then it's time to sever ties, to move on, or to confront them. All right, let's take a look now at love and see what messages are coming through in the area of relationships for you this month. And so we have come out of the closet. And this is really about being transparent, being open, speaking your truth. And for some of you, sharing a part of your life, maybe that you've been afraid or just not ready to share. So I think the most important thing is trust and transparency in relationships. So if you can do that, then I think that you have a really good chance for success. Now, what's important with this is when you are ready to speak your truth, you want to do it in a way that's setting your own sort of delivery up for success and also people receiving your delivery. So if you want to share something with someone, whether it's a proposal, whether it's, again, a part of your life that they don't know about but you need to tell them about so that you can be happy. So whatever it is, you know, coming out is not just what we think of it now. It's also about sharing parts of your life that people may not know about. So it could be something from the past that you're healing and you're getting past. It could be a new exciting venture that you want to take in the future. Maybe you want to start a business or go back to school or whatever. The way you want to set it up, though, is to start off by saying to the recipient, I love you, and I'm really excited to share something with you. It's because I love you that I want to share this. I think that when you find that your message comes from a place of love, authenticity, and truly wanting to connect with the recipient, that whatever it is you want to share will be much easier. Even if it's something difficult or painful, then you're setting yourself up, again, for success, and also letting the person know that it's only because you love them so much that you want to share this exciting news, difficult news, or whatever the kind of news is that you have. That transparency is going to intensify and improve the intimacy and relationship that you have with them. And withholding it you can say this, it's been hard for me not to talk about this. So again, this can run the whole gamut from traditional coming out to also talking about something that is either exciting or an announcement or scary, but just set it up and say, I trust you, I love you, and I know that you've always been supportive when I've talked about new things coming through in my life, so you were the first person that I wanted to tell. There you go, something like that. You'll find the right words, and it has to come from the heart. That's the most important thing. Okay, let's now take a look at your destiny card. I love this because this is sort of your GPS and gut check to see if you're happy with your present trajectory. If you are, stay right on that course, and if not, this is your chance to course correct. Sometimes I read this though as a message on how to do better or how to stay on that course. So let's just see what the destiny card has in store for you this month. So when I'm looking at this card, what I see here is that I want you to be very firm in your grounding here. The first thing I'm seeing is this rock, actually. So it's important for you this month to be grounded in purpose and also not let other people push you off your path. We just talked about possibly talking to somebody about something important. Whenever you do that, you put up a little bit of risk because they're going to then come back and either judge, support, or maybe not even give you the reaction that you want. I want you to be just like this stone here, strong, steady, and when it comes to knowing what you're doing, not able to be easily pushed off the path, okay? So work on your grounding this month, and if you don't already have a meditation practice, this would be a fabulous time to start. And really, like I like to meditate with trees, and that's why this whole deck that I'm using for Destiny is all based on trees. So what I'll do sometimes to ground myself is simply to pick up a stone, and you'll notice I keep this one nearby when I'm doing readings. I often reference it. It was a gift, but what I like about it is it's just like a regular rock, except it has this beautiful sort of striation here that has blue crystal or blue rock in it. But anyway, all that's important is you could go outside and pick up any boulder and put it in your hands, feel a connection to Mother Earth, and then lean against a tree. Now, if the weather's not permitting, you can do this in a better part of the year, but you can also just meditate with the idea that you're sitting against a tree. I often use that in my guided meditations. Then you can use a stone like this, put it in your hands, and feel the weight of gravity pushing your back against the tree, pushing you against the planet, feeling solid, feeling connected, knowing that you can send your energy into the earth, into that tree, and knowing that you're supported basically in a 360-degree point of view. So I want you to try that this month, work on grounding, and I may do a meditation in the future about that because I think it's really important just to know how to ground. If you can't do that, you can't work on the higher chakras, and it's really important to start with basically the first chakra and feel a connection with the planet. So work on that, and again, maybe in the future I will expand on it a little bit more than I did here for you. All right, let's go ahead and summarize everything that we talked about. The channeled message at the beginning was to try not to force things. Don't force timing, be open, and pay attention to where you're getting sort of friction or pushback in real life, whether it's a traffic jam or you're having difficulty booking things or whatever. Realize that these are subtle cues from the universe to help you make a decision, and that the guiding hand of God and the universe is with you all the time. Let's now go ahead and look at the cards here. Your catalyst card was the tiger, and we mentioned all aspects of the tiger here. The positive side is if you want to be bold this month, and we talked a little bit about coming out and speaking your truth, please do that. If you are instead, though, kind of feeling a need to pull back, re-examine, think, is it fear, etc. The other aspect of this card is just making sure that you trust everyone around you. If you don't, now is the time to make some changes and ask yourself why you're surrounding yourself with people like that. Or, again, if you're doing anything that you're not proud of, to really curb that activity. A lot of energy this month around relationships. We have a lot of cup cards here. The King of Cups, the 10, the 6, the Ace, and the 5. So I would say this is an emotionally heavy month, and they're actually all around the center. I didn't notice that until now, with the Ace of Cups right over top of that center Princess of Wands. So first thing that I'm noticing with the Prince and Princess here, for those of you that are in a domestic partnership marriage or really, really close dating relationship, there could be some challenges. we talked about the Five of Cups, which is to reflect and think, why are some of these things coming through? Could it not be the other person? Could it be a lesson for me? And if I can release that lesson, can I see that person more clearly? The other thing that we're looking at here is to put some limits and some boundaries between you and others in your life. So the Ten of Cups and the Six of Cups, reverse, showing that there's a lot of energy that is going to be in the taking area. People will need a lot from you, so don't be afraid to put up limits. Same thing with the Five of Cups here. The only upright card here in the cups is the past, the King of Cups, which shows you ultimately you're the one that decides how much you want to give, and it's a card of empowerment. So remember that you're still the one in the driver's seat here. Communication is sort of off the charts this month for you. You're in a really great place for that. Use your words wisely, and success should follow. Listen to your intuition. It won't lead you astray. You will regret if you're not tuning into that, however. And keep an open mind. That's the common message between both of the Wands cards that are reversed. There's an art to diplomacy. Use that High Priestess energy that we're picking up on and allow it to be beneficial to you. With the Six of Cups in reverse, remember again, there could be someone from the past or someone with whom you share a great recognition. And if you feel that heart space recognition with them, take it slowly. That card was reversed. Get to know them, put up proper limits and boundaries, and I think that's going to be key to success across the board this month. As we look at your health card, don't be afraid to ask for advice, to seek out a health professional, especially if you haven't gone in for a checkup in a while. It's also about alternative medicine and second opinions. Act with integrity with all things financial. Surround yourself with others who do the same. This is not a time to take chances when it comes to that. You have to trust people that you're sharing your money with, and you also need to act by the law, basically by the books. And if you're not, now's the time to clean things up. And if someone else isn't, now's the time to approach them and make it stop. And when we look, so we just looked at health, wealth, when we're looking at love, basically be transparent, be who you are. And so whatever coming out means for you, come out, but do it from a place of love and empowerment, because that makes your message so much more powerful. Be this Ace of Swords card, which is, I know my truth, I'm sharing my truth, I love you, and this message is powerful because I love you and want to share it with you. Finally, be strong, steady, and secure, just like the rock that we see here. Use the tree here as well as something that you can meditate with. Feel the support of the universe behind you and be steady and secure in your resolve. If you do this, I think you have a great month ahead of you. Yes, there's a lot of emotional components, but the outcome card is pretty positive here. If you can keep even footing, if you can allow for your emotions to not sort of control you this month, instead to harness them as a creative element, then things will be a lot easier for you. So if you'd ever like to reach out to me and do a one-on-one appointment much like this, feel free to do that. If you look below in the description area, you'll see a few links, and the first one allows for you to check for rates and availability. I also have some links that allow a donation to take place, and just to let you know where that goes, this helps me buy card decks like this. It helps me pay for the production costs of videos like this, because I pretty much do them just as volunteer work each month, and I don't make hardly anything from ad revenue on this. So donations do help a lot. You can do something as little as $1, and there are two ways you can do it, either donate on my website or through Patreon. However, there's no need to do that, especially if your judgment or if your heart tells you you don't want to. But I'd love for you to stay in touch with me. So there's a lot of ways to do that. The easiest, of course, is to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have, thank you. You can also click that little bell icon, which will send you email notifications whenever I post new videos or meditations or news in general. And I'd also encourage you to check out my newsletter, because that will get directly mailed to your inbox once a month usually, and will tell you when the new videos are up as well. Likewise, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and always post news updates there, so those are great places to follow me. Just one note on Instagram, I did recently change my handle, so if you had followed me in the past, you'll need to follow me under the new profile, which is at Nicholas_Ashbaugh. I'll put a link in the description area below the video. I'll also embed it in the video, and it's of course on my website. There's just a link at the top, so you can click that icon. And finally, I like to end every video with a sense of gratitude, and also to kind of ground us in why we're doing this every month. Although it's nice to know what's coming ahead, and that's part of why I do it, I'm also here to hopefully spark a light within everyone that's watching this. I really do believe that we all have the capability to be more intuitive, to be strong and psychic, and I want to create that awakening in all of us. And I saw this vision this month as I was thinking of all signs, of a chain of light. And I think that that's what we're starting to become. We're all linked together with a common purpose, which is to raise consciousness, to heal, to know more. And if you continue to work on yourself, that this chain of light can be a wonderful counteract or balance for all of the fear, the negativity, and the other stuff that's going on in the world right now. So I want you to continue to grow, and I want all of us to connect and support each other as light workers. And I think if we do that, if we work on ourselves and if we champion one another, then this world is going to be headed into a good direction. I do believe in the capacity for change and improvement, and I think we need to be hopeful, especially right now. So keep that hope alive, keep that light burning bright and strong, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of it. Much love and light. I'll see you next month.